Yeah, hi everybody. This is iDeist here. I'm just making a little video about transhumanism in regards to. I normally go into Inmendham, Gary's room, Do Not God on Stickam on Saturday nights at midnight, and him and I always have a contention with each other about. Well, he seems to be a proponent of virtual reality, which I think is gay, and I think it's stupid. And I don't use the word gay in a derogatory term. I use it as kind of a jokey term. Anyway, to make a long story longer, yeah, all right. Well, here's my contention. He seems to think that virtual reality would be better than transhumanism. Well, transhumanism is already here, okay? Bottom line is, it's already here and you can't stop it. Transhumanism is going to be here until we actually transform into transhumanists as a conglomerative or as a collective. And we agree. I mean, if you know anybody that's already had LASIK surgery, if you know anybody that has a prosthetic limb, well, that's transhumanism. Anyway, to make a long story longer, his major contention is that, why do all that, basic bullshit when you can just plug yourself into a virtual reality and, you can have the, 72 virgins and you can do this and do that and whatever else. And, I'm sure most of us that are, technologically savvy know that there's always somebody that can throw a bug in there. And transhumanistically wise, people can throw a bug in there as well. Fact of the matter is that we live in a finite universe, okay? So even if you're a virtual realityist, if you want to use that terminology, yeah, eventually our sun's going to burn out and we're not going to be able to traverse the universe. Fact of the matter is that medically, right now, we're going into nanotechnology. We're going to be injecting little robots into our systems to get rid of the cancers, to get rid of all the stuff that was mapped in the genomes. Okay, this is fact. Okay, this isn't me blowing smoke. You guys can say, oh yeah, well, he believes in virtual reality, he's a nut. He believes in transhumanism, he's a nut. No, I mean, this is factuality. Okay, by the year 2029, the computer is going to be as smart as we are. It's going to be able to perform and actually act as equal as ourselves. So anyway, to get off that boat, what I was saying earlier is that we live in a finite universe. So if we're actually going to be able to traverse the universe, to get outside of our own planet, outside of Earth, virtual reality is not going to help us. So we're going to need some type of non-organic self to get off of here. So what would be the way to do that? Transhumanism. Not affected by radiation, not affected by gravity. Well, this is going to be affected by gravity. Not affected by hunger, not affected by pain. If we get injured, we can actually repair ourselves. Bottom line is, it's the way that it is, and it's the way that it's going to be. I mean, you can go in your little virtual reality world and say, oh, well, this is good, and this is going to be better. No, it's not going to be better. Virtual reality is pretty much crap. It's basically saying, oh, well, I want to get rid of the inevitable and forget about reality and plug myself into some fake world and pretend like everything's going to be copacetic. No, that's not the way it's going to be. What it's going to be is that we're still going to have the propunction of getting hit by fucking meteorites or asteroids or get blasted by fucking earthquakes or tsunamis, hence Japan. We're going to get fucking tornadoes, snowstorms, this and that, so on and so forth. I mean, right now, the way that it goes is that, what, is it every like 350 or 250 to 400 years that the Pacific coast of California is supposed to be hit by a really bad earthquake, similar to what was hit by Japan last week or the week before. I'm sorry if my time's off, but yeah, I mean, that shit. I mean, we can rebuild and whatever else. But I digress. Anyway, if we're gonna actually get off this ball of dirt, which I think we want to do anyway, because the whole purpose of us being humans is actually to explore and to find different things. Plugging ourselves into a virtual reality is kind of like a cop-out. It's kind of cowardice, if you ask me. It's kind of like, oh, well, let's forget about all of the reality, plug ourselves into a virtual reality, and we don't have to play the game anymore. Well, if you don't play the game, that's completely fine. I actually want to play the game to win. And according to you, it might be a non-win game or a no-sum game, according to this universe. Well, I'm one of the proponents of multiverses, so I would actually like to have at the least, have the opportunity to say, okay, well, hey, you know what? I gave it my best shot, and maybe there isn't a multiverse, but if I didn't do it, then I could be like, oh yeah, well, I'll plug myself into a virtual reality and just cop out. No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be a proponent of transhumanism. I'm going to say what we should do is harness our intelligence, because we all know that our intelligence fires on synapses, which is basically electricity. Find out how to do that, put that in a non-organic type of machine, cyber-organize our existence, so we have, like, you know, a system where we can remove a limb if we need to. Hopefully nobody ever has to need to. And then actually be able to traverse the universe. You know, hop into a ship and fucking travel for 500 years and say, hey, listen, oh, isn't this cool? I don't need to eat. I don't feel any pain. I don't feel any of this, feel any of that. And I'm not saying to get rid of all of our sentience. I'm not saying, like, getting rid of caring or get rid of loving or whatever else. But you know what? That really doesn't mean shit either at the end of the game. I mean, seriously, if you're gonna propose that it's a zero-sum game, then what's the fucking loss at it? Even if we lose the fucking, you know, the human nature of ourselves, wouldn't it be better at least to fucking be able to keep going? And if there is the potential that there is a multiverse, that the way that we're going to be able to get through it isn't going to be organically, it's going to be by transhumanism. So anyway, I'd actually like to go back to relative recent news. I mean, people with cancer now, and if you want to argue this with your virtual reality, people with cancer now, what is their greatest hope? Is that some way that we can find some kind of nanotechnology that we can inject these little robots into our, you know, we've mapped our genome, that we can actually inject these robots into our id, and that they can actually find those little bastards that are causing all this cancer and go there and kill them, you know, and do all these things. You know, virtual reality is almost like closing your eyes and saying, hey, you know what, I give up. Well, I'm not going to give up. And you know what? I'm probably not going to ever see the transhumanism existence. I'm probably not going to see people traversing to different planets. But you know what, though? I can be a cheerleader for them, and I can actually be a fucking person that says, hey, listen, I gave it, you know, my 2 cents to say, hey, I think it's a worthwhile cause. And us as a species, we just didn't get fucking wiped out because we gave up and we decided to put some sunglasses on and plug ourselves into the virtual reality machine. That seems to me is what your, you know, what your answer is. And you know what? I will not do that. I won't. I cannot. I can't. I like to, you know, I'm a very competitive person, and I would actually like to have my prodigy, or even people that aren't my prodigy, to be able to move on and have a better life. Yeah, better life without the pain, without the hunger, without the bullshit that we have right now. And that would be transhumanism. You wouldn't have Darfur. You wouldn't have Libya. You wouldn't have Afghanistan. You wouldn't have Iraq. You'd have everybody being equal. You would have people that could all get along with each other, whether they are transhumanistic or not, and have a, you know, potentially have a fruitful life. Anyway, I would like other people's, you know, opinions on this. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but I know for a fact that the matter is that we're not going to be able to traverse the universe just because of gravity, radiation, time, travel, distance. I mean, everything would kill us if we were organic. I mean, we're basically fucking shells. But I think that if we could actually, like I said earlier, harness ourselves into a cybernetic organism and be able to traverse the universe heartily, then we'd actually be able to, you know, be somebody where, you know, the pyramids just don't pop up and we don't know who built them. This way we could come back and be like, hey, you know what? We're the ones that built the skyscrapers in New York. We're the ones that built the bridges in fucking London. We're the ones that did this and did that. So, yeah. I haven't been on in a while, but I felt I had to make this video. I would love to hear arguments, because if you don't make any arguments, then I don't have any videos to make afterwards. And I'm sure that I'm not 100% on everything I say, but I'm thinking it's a pretty good argument. As always, I hope everyone's well, and until next time, think hard.